Freelance writers can tap into several social media platforms to get new clients, but none of them have worked as well as LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very business oriented platform where it's easier to build connections with colleagues that turn into clients. However, a lot of people have a misrepresented definition of LinkedIn marketing where you just send as many spam messages as possible and hope one of those resonates, which doesn't really work too well. So the strategy I use for getting freelance writing clients on LinkedIn, it isn't reaching out to a bunch of businesses, but rather creating a LinkedIn profile and having the experience behind it where instead of me searching for clients, clients find me. And there is a way to do that with your LinkedIn profile as well. One of the things to remember about LinkedIn is that it is a search engine. I think a lot of people forget that when it comes to social networks like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They're all search engines. I think people remember that a bit more with Google, especially because it is a search engine, and YouTube as well, because a lot of people talk about YouTube SEO. But the SEO is just as important for platforms like LinkedIn. So in my profile, I mentioned at the very top that I am a business freelance writer. That is a keyword search phrase that my potential client is going to use to see if they find anyone who fits their criteria. So if you don't have freelance writer, and preferably the topic. So if you're a health freelance writer, or if you are a entrepreneur freelance writer, or if you are a gardening freelance writer or lifestyle freelance writer, include that distinction in your LinkedIn profile. You don't want to just have writer, because there's so many people who just use that phrase writer, and there are so many people who can write, but there are fewer people who write about business freelancing or lifestyle or other more specific topics. So make sure you include that at the start when you are describing yourself. LinkedIn gives you that opportunity to say what you do in one quick line. You also want to weave that term in your LinkedIn bio just to rank ahead of some of the other potential candidates. The next thing to do is to list more of your freelance writing experience on LinkedIn. There are some clients who, actually a lot of them, who finds me on LinkedIn. It is because of the experiences tab. Now, if you are just starting out, you don't have as much experience, that's where I recommend starting with any of the opportunities that come your way, even if it's not necessarily the best pay, as long as it's a freelance writing commitment instead of a full-time commitment. You get the experience, you're able to put it in your LinkedIn profile, and it attracts some of the companies that can offer more compelling opportunities in the future. One of the easiest ways to list freelance writing experience is to write on Medium. Medium, there is no barrier to entry. You just start writing content, you get better at it, you eventually submit to Medium publications, you get featured there. And when you do list your Medium writing experience, Medium's icon does show up, which is really good for that experiences tab versus having the generic picture that doesn't have a company logo on it. So that's a good way to get started, even if you don't have any experience, but being able to list that over time, it does help. So LinkedIn, it wasn't the first place I went to go to find clients. I did Google searches to find clients. I did some Upwork activity as well. Those activities helped build the initial work experience. And once you have that, LinkedIn can become a place where clients find you instead of you having to search for clients. So it's not like you go on LinkedIn, you set up your profile with zero experience, and then clients start coming your way. LinkedIn is also great for you can create content and interact with people, build relationships. That you can do even if you don't have as much experience. But LinkedIn is a place where if you have some experience in the area, it can catapult you if you have a decent enough setup already. You don't have to be a pro, but just a decent enough setup. Versus if you are just getting started out, it would make more sense to write on Medium or your own blog just to build up writing samples first, then do a lot of your own outreach where you are using Google to find potential businesses and agencies that can use your writing, going on Upwork to find some opportunities. And then when you have that experience, LinkedIn becomes a lot more useful for being able to get clients. If you want to get clients on LinkedIn, messaging is not the way to do it. A lot of people just spam the inbox to the point where it's not an enjoyable place for a lot of people who use LinkedIn. So instead of the messaging route, which I think it's better to do that type of outreach through Google, contacting the business owner, the decision maker directly through the website versus through something like LinkedIn. I think that's a lot better. It takes a conversation to email. But instead of thinking messaging people on LinkedIn is the path to success as a freelance writer, focus more on optimizing your profile where the decision makers will come across your work and they will be the ones to ask the questions. They will be the ones to say, are you available to work with us? They will be the ones to say, can you write about this topic for us? When you optimize your profile that way, and that's combined with having good work experience, having good writing samples, that is when LinkedIn can start filling your pipeline with a lot of clients. Let me know what's working for you guys in your freelance writing journeys. I always love to hear from you all, and I'll see you next time.